What up, Dokkaners? So a lot of you guys have been asking me, Toon, how is the rest of the year going to look for Dokkan? And more specifically, global players with several banners still out in limbo. How the heck are we going to be finishing off this year for 2024? We are going to be covering this topic in this video, mainly because worldwide has sort of come to a screeching halt for a lot of players. It's been overall a pretty mixed bag in terms of how people have been receiving the characters, the content, and now with part 3 being a little bit unusually slow, I figured that it's better just to talk about this now because people are probably looking into the future anyway. You know, if you got shafted on some of these banners, you probably don't have many stones, so you probably won't be able to summon any of these banners coming up. You're looking towards the 6-year anniversary. So let's lay out the framework for how things are going to be playing out until the year 2025. This is going to be a purely speculative video, but one that you guys have been asking for, so I figured we could just get this done right now. If you guys have been enjoying all of the content on the channel, if you guys have been enjoying all the live streams, the shorts, if you guys are looking forward to Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, then make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, because while I do cover Dokkan, I will also be covering Sparking Zero in full force when that game comes out. It's going to be different. It's going to be a lot of fun. All the edits that you have been wanting, they're coming back, and they're coming back in waves. So make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Don't miss out. The goal is 150,000 subscribers. So let's jump in here. So what I've basically done is I have mapped out the rest of the year in terms of the dates. I'm following Global's structure from years past, but I'm also factoring in the reality that we are now supposed to be following more of the JP timeline. So you'll see some differences, and I will, elaborate on the differences. But with that said, there might still need to be some adjustments. I'll say TLDR, it shouldn't be that difficult to integrate 4 banners, because the road to the end of the year is pretty much a mashup for Global anyway, because we'll get a couple of extra cash grab banners that JP doesn't get. So it shouldn't be that tough. So we're probably just going to be replacing those cash grabs with these, which will also be cash grabs. So let's start with the Autumn Dokkan Festival. Now, in terms of what this is going to be, I have no idea. I think it's very likely that the Autumn Dokkan Festival is going to be Dragon Ball Daima. Daima is set to drop October 11th. So the dates, they're just placeholders. Don't pay too much attention to the dates. They might change around. That's totally fine. But I feel like Daima is definitely coming up next, because Daima is dropping on October 11th, the same time as Sparking Zero. So I feel like that's pretty much covered the part 1 and part 2. Now, I don't think they are going to be combining banners. So none of this is going to be incorporating any sort of like banner mashups, because they want to capitalize on the initial release of the characters, because they want your money. They don't care about optimizing banner releases. They don't care about spreading things out so that low spending players or free to play players can have a chance to survive. They don't care about all that. They want money, and they want to get all of these out. So nothing will happen during the Autumn Dokkan Festival blot. I think all of October, there will be no ground that is gained on the global side. Where I think we will gain a little bit of ground will be during this slot right here. So this is an asterisk, because this Pappy Gal's banner is not one that JP typically gets during this time. Last year for the Autumn Dokkan Festival, JP got 1718 for part 1 and the Universe 2 trio for part 2. They did not get a Pappy Gal's banner. But if we look at the global side, it was the Turles celebration. Turles was part 1, and then for part 2, it was the Pappy Gals and the Spirit Bomb Goku. Both of these banners dropped within a couple of days of each other. So there's your first example of mashups already going on, or not mashups, but like compressed scheduling, bunch of banners dropping back to back to back. So with this here, it just seems very obvious that this would be where the Cocote banner would go. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and throw this banner down here. All right, so we'll keep that one there for now. All right, so now let's move on. Going into Halloween, this is also another banner that JP does not have. So I put it in asterisk because if they don't have it, maybe we don't get it, but maybe we do. And the reason why we do is because this is an easy opportunity for a cash grab. Now, a couple of reasons why I think this is a great place to put Roshi. Number 1, this has now become the new spot for the Saiyan Day unit to come back on Global. So with the Saiyan Day unit coming back this time around, it would have to be Tech Vegeta. And so if they're going to be making a new Halloween cash grab banner for that, that would also happen to be a great spot to replace Roshi's banner with. Because in Roshi's banner, JP got Topo for the first time. Topo coming back this early might be a little too much. So if Roshi's banner were to drop, in that Halloween slot, then the dates would obviously change a little bit. We don't really care about the dates, but what they could do is instead of having Topo be one of the featured SSRs, they could throw in the Tech Vegeta and maybe a few other characters that you would normally see on this banner. But the main thing would be that the Roshi releases along with the Bulma banner unit. Now, the reason why I think these two banners need to be dropping close to each other is because both involve Peppy Gals, and the content that is involved with this celebration sort of needs both units, both banners to be around. So I don't think that there should be a situation where these two banners are split up. They could totally do it like they did with Tech UI and Jiren, because it's annoying and it's dumb, and of course Dokkan will do those types of things. But I just personally feel that keeping these two together would make more sense. Would Roshi have to drop before the Peppy Gals banner? Sure, I suppose that's possible. You could throw them up here, but this is my speculation, so I'm gonna leave it like this. So that just leaves two more banners left on the docket. We got the Jiren banner and we got the holiday banner. So let's continue here. Moving into November. Now, November is notably a pretty decent spot for global players because, well, in terms of content, because that is when the thank you celebration usually occurs. Now, since we've already covered the majority of the thank you celebration a week after the 9th anniversary, right? August 4th. So it was smack dab in the middle of the 9th anniversary that we had the first part of the thank you celebration. We can't really have that here. So what's going to happen, I think, is we will probably start to see some of the scheduling changes that JP already had. So this is the major distinction between global and JP. For global, thank you celebration consists of a part 1 and part 2. And then that part 2 celebration has about a week overlap with Dragon Ball Heroes. For JP, it's simply a part 1 that is extended. So part 1s, usually part 1, part 2s, they're 2 weeks long. But for JP, this time slot is typically 3 weeks long. So if we go back to last year, JP's part 1 Dokkan Festival for November was the STR Gohan Piccolo. And if we go through the entire celebration, there was no part 2. They had, I think the most notable thing for part 2 was like the LR Nappa Vegeta EZA, I think. So that was it. So, and I remember a lot of people are saying, oh my God, JP Dokkan is dead. It's because he had an extra week of basically nothing. So either global follows suit or global still retains the part 2. I think for the sake of global catching up, we would have to retain the part 2 for now. So whatever part 1 is, global and JP will have that. But then for part 2, global's special banner for part 2 last year, with last year's part 1 being Super Saiyan 4, you would have thought the part 2 would have been the Omega Shenron. It was not. It was a cash grab banner. It was this, whatever the hell this was.
Overflowing gratitude.
Wait a second. That's God Goku. God Goku was the same day unit from the previous year. So wait, did they put that? Well, whatever, man. This was the banner that happened here, and this was the banner that happened here. Whatever. They're both special banners. They're both cash grabs. So we're simply going to replace them. So let's replace this cash grab banner with the Jiren banner, because where better to put the thank you celebration part 2 unit other than its own part 2 slot. That would make all the sense in the world and also help retain that like thank you celebration vibe in this time slot. So let's go ahead and throw him down here, and that is where I think it makes the most sense. Boom. We have one banner left, so let's continue on here. Dragon Ball Heroes, I have no idea what's going to happen, so maybe this happens, maybe this doesn't. I have nothing to say, because they have ended Heroes, so we don't know what this means for Dokkan. Will Dokkan continue to have Heroes while the IP is still relevant, or are they just going to end it? Will we never get Royal Blue Gogeta? Will we never get Super Saiyan 4 Kaiogen Gogeta? I don't know what's going to happen, and we'll only have to wait and see. So that's just whatever. Moving into the winter celebration slot, the pre-holiday Dokkan Festival, the end of November going into December. This last year was a bit of a surprise for a lot of people because Global and JP shared the same banners. We had the Android 21 Dokkan Festival. So this year, we don't know what's going to look like, but it'll be some new Dokkan Festival. And then part 2 was also shared. We have the Super Saiyan Trio. So this scheduling is still the same for both Global and JP. However, Global then gets the holiday banner. That's not something that JP got. So if we pull up JP's schedule for part 2, you can see the double rates right there for the Super Saiyan Trio. You see all the other stuff here, like the blue stones, the red stones, all that stuff, yada, yada, yada. But then if we go to the global version of the same thing, we have a Frosty Miracle Winter Dokkan campaign. And in here, you see the thank you unit, and you see the anniversary characters. So this is the perfect spot to put that final holiday banner, the one with the tech UI and the 9th anniversary characters. Now, while it makes sense on paper, it is also important to remember that the anniversary units are returning for the first time basically a month before they're going to be coming back. Now, this is not something that Global typically has to deal with because Global normally has the anniversaries in July. But with this year, things changing, will they eventually change the placement of this? Will they change the featured characters? I don't know. So we will have to wait and see. But to me, this makes the most sense. Tech UI has the most amount of not most, but has a decent amount of separation being at the end of December, considering its initial release was back in August, right? So August to September, or October, or November, 4 months. I think that's enough. So maybe Tech UI stays there. I don't know. Maybe they change it. There's also that weird SummerSlam, summer whatever banner that JP got. Maybe we get that too. They'll probably throw that in somewhere. But whatever happens, by the end of 2024, I think I will start using the term full synchro. Mainly because when banners come out, when characters come out, I feel like everything will be the same now for Global and JP, minus the few key differences that they've already mentioned. Things like the Pilaf's Trove, character rarity, types, link skills, and all that stuff. Whatever differences already exist, those will remain different. Top grossing, I don't think will ever change. I don't think that will ever become exactly the same as Global in terms of the timing. I think still the amount that we get will be the same, but there will still be a couple of days gap. Other than that, banners, content, all the characters, all the units, everything else, I think will be the same. So that is my projected roadmap for the rest of the year. Will it work out this way? Probably not. Every single time I predict something, it usually always never happens. So you're welcome. Maybe this was exactly what you needed, because now I have deconfirmed these units dropping the times that they do. Maybe Roshi shows up along with Daima, or maybe they don't even give us Daima. Maybe, you know what? If Daima's dropping on October 11th, that gives you a whole week after the worldwide celebration is over. So maybe either worldwide gets an EX or Global gets one extra banner right before Daima. So all of this could change. I don't know. This is just my way of trying to answer that question, the question that you guys have been asking me in a reasonable video. And that's what we got right here. So please don't kill the messenger if I end up being wrong. I am just doing my best to answer your questions. So that's it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like down below. Let me know in the comments, how does my roadmap projection look to you? Does it look reasonable? Does it look good? Does it look bad? Did I miss anything? What are your thoughts on how Global is going to be catching up with JP? Are they going to be doing it in the dumbest way possible, in the most inconvenient way possible, or do you think they're going to do something to help players survive the onslaught? Will they be combining banners? Will they be changing banners entirely? Let me know your thoughts, your theories, whatever, in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more dope content in the future, and click the notification bell so that you let YouTube know you want to see more of my stuff. Do it! Thanks again. Stay tuned, and remember to Dokkan responsibly.